Hello, good morning.
Hi, everyone.
I know that Sia is here because we saw her early comment. Hello, Sia.
Hi, Sia.
We're so glad to see you. So, as you can see, we're like wearing our fun headbands here with the light up. It's holiday time.
It's our holiday party, Leslie.
It is. So, I actually just have my normal coffee, my black coffee this morning. Are you drinking anything special?
I also have coffee. What a surprise if you know me. There was no surprise there. And
Do
I think
you like any
yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do you like anything special during this time of year?
So, I'm probably the opposite of your black coffee. I like coffee as sweet and flavored as possible. So, I actually really enjoy all of the special lattes this time of year, whether they're gingerbread lattes or like the praline latte. I love
Ooh,
peppermint mocha. I like them all.
yes.
The more sugar and flavor, the better.
You hit mine though. At this time oh, so what's happening? Are we like buffering? Did you see
I
that? Or it
We
was
did
just
buffer
me?
there for a minute. No, I was afraid it was me, but, I think we're back. LinkedIn has
I
been
think
wild this week, as we know.
exactly. And even like with the comments, it's possible. Sia, thank you. You may be the only person here right now because perhaps other people can't get in.
Oh,
So,
no.
you know what? Maybe we should just get started and then
Sure.
some people will have to watch the recording.
That's alright. We can Leslie, I can talk for hours and hours, it does not matter.
Exactly. And even like our StreamYard's a little off because you see how our names are not displaying, but I wrote that I have the tab. So there could be problems with StreamYard and LinkedIn, but either way, it's being recorded.
And
So we
here's a
might
few
as well get
people.
to,
People's
oh, good.
comments are popping in, yes, and Ingrid had to refresh. Ingrid, thanks so much for joining us, and G is here, that's amazing. Thank you, guys.
Oh, and Deborah's here. We see
Ah,
that too. We
see?
missed that one.
We got it. It's coming. It's coming.
Everyone's coming in. Good. So it's a perfect time for us to like say hello to everyone. Hello, hello, and introduce ourselves. So, Melissa, if you would start first.
Sure. If you guys don't know me, I'm Melissa Cohen, and I'm an executive in the fashion industry, actually. But I am also a huge LinkedIn aficionado. It is my happy place, and so I love to do things like this with Leslie because I just, some people like to cook, some people like to travel. I like to hang out on LinkedIn.
Me too. And I mean, that's where we met. So I'm always going to appreciate LinkedIn. It's just incredible how, when like a few years ago, I would have never thought that LinkedIn is where I've met some of the most meaningful, contacts. I can't talk this morning, and relationships, and they're real. Like some have turned into real life, some are um, mostly on LinkedIn, some are, via Zoom, whoever it is. It's just incredible that I'm meeting people I would have never met because our
100%.
paths wouldn't have crossed. So
100%.
I'm Leslie Neidick, the conflict strategist. I help people get unstuck from conflict. And soon I am going to be announcing something that I'm really excited about. It's called the Conflict Tune Up, and it's something compact with impact. So in the next few weeks, people will hear more about that.
That tagline is
So I want
awesome.
you like it?
I love it.
Oh, and here's Karen is here. Jason is here.
Hi.
Sia, we saw she was here before we even started. Thank you, Sia. And I hope everyone likes our cute little headbands we're wearing today. I love this like sparkling light thing, so we're having fun. So with that in mind, let's get started. First of all, thank you for everyone who's here. Thank you for joining us, whether this is your first time or you've been with us other times. This is Let's Talk About It, Careers, Business, and LinkedIn. So, as many of you know, there are some glitches going on live streams on LinkedIn. A lot of times you can correct it by refreshing. The other thing I'm going to keep doing is right down here, you'll see I'll keep on highlighting comments. So, in case you can't see other people's comments, look on the screen. They'll be up here too. So, we'll just keep on moving around with those. And now we're going to get started with first, well, today's topic is holiday parties, our best tips and some of our stories that we can share. So we're going to start with what are our what are our best tips. But before that, I want to share a few statistics that explain why like talking about holiday parties is important. So back in 2019, over 75% of businesses reported that they had in-person holiday parties. By 2020, I don't think any of us will be surprised, that dropped to 5%. Then in 2021, it went back up to 25%. Last year, it increased again to 57%. And this year, I'm sure the number is even higher and it hasn't been reported yet. The data I just shared came from the Associated Press and it was provided by the hiring firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, coincidental with their name. So I don't know about the rest of you, but it's likely that you feel some anxiety when you're going to a holiday party. So sharing our best tips, I think, will be helpful for all of us. And I would love Melissa to start with one of her tips, and I'll share one of mine after that.
Sure. Before I even give a tip, though, I have to give a shout out to our friend G, who used my absolute favorite word, mishigas. So thank you. That is my absolute favorite word. And there is definitely some mishigas at some of these parties. So I think my biggest tip is have fun, but use your best judgment, right? I think too many people forget that while it's a party and while you're there to have fun, you're still there with your colleagues and you're still there with your boss and with senior people in your organization. So, holiday parties are a great experience. They're a great opportunity to get to know people in an informal setting. Maybe you'll have conversations with people that you wouldn't otherwise have the chance to have those conversations. And listen, have a cocktail. It's totally fine, but have a cocktail or two. Please do not be that person who can't leave the punch bowl. Don't be that person who is throwing up in the bathroom. Um, Alcohol can be fun. Alcohol can also be really dangerous because it removes a lot of that filter that we have. And I think a lot of us have had that experience where people just exhibit really poor behavior because they've overindulged. So that is my absolute biggest tip is have fun, but not to sound like the Budweiser commercial, but drink responsibly. Remember that you're still in an office setting, even if you're at a party. And if you wouldn't say it in the office, don't say it at the party.
Oh, that's almost a nugget by itself. If you won't say it in the office, don't say it at the party. Absolutely. There's a tip that I just heard recently, and I just think it encompasses everything, a lot of the things we need to know when we walk in, especially the anxiety issues. So let me share it. She calls it the bagel and the croissant. So usually when we go to some of these holiday parties, especially if we're feeling anxious, as soon as we see someone we know, we gravitate towards that group and we may even stay in that group. And everyone tends to end up in a circle, the bagel, where no one else can get into that circle. And especially if someone doesn't know all of you, they're not going to come. So we're really closed. So the croissant part of the story is be the croissant, open up that circle so that other people can come in, especially the people you don't know. And I heard that and I was like, wouldn't that be like a great thing that if everyone in their mind had this intentionality about let's always open up the circles so that we do meet some of the people you don't get a chance to talk to on an everyday basis, like that real crossover. So I just thought that idea of bagel and croissant really stuck with me. And I thought it was great advice for even any networking party, not just a holiday party.
I absolutely love that. I mean, first of all, bagels, you're like speaking my language. But no, I mean, I think that's so important. You're right. We do tend to gravitate towards the people that we already know, which is fine. That's great. But you're at a party, why not meet somebody new? And just like we were talking about at the very beginning, when, you and I have both met really interesting people on LinkedIn, that's how we met. You never know who you're going to meet. Everything is an opportunity to meet somebody, make a new connection, make a new friend, make a new ally at the office, right? Who doesn't need that? Who doesn't need more people in your corner? In the work environment. So you never know who you're going to meet. And I be the croissant is going to be in my head now forever.
Exactly. And Ingrid added a great like addition to the tip. Pull people into the croissant. I love that. It's a great idea because that there's so many people, including myself, that when we're at some of these bigger parties, you need that little invitation because it's so uncomfortable to walk into a group that's already having a conversation. There's so many great comments. I just want to make sure I get them all up here. Um, Kimberly was saying, absolutely. If you wouldn't say it at the office, don't say it at the party. That is worth repeating. And that's definitely a nugget that we all need to remember. Thank you, Kimberly. So, what's another tip that you might have before we get to our next question? Do you have another one, Melissa?
I mean, I think just, have a little bit of a game plan going into this party, know who you're going with, how you're getting there, how you're getting home is a big one. Um, and just, I think we were talking about anxiety a little bit. It's a party. It's going to be fun. I've sometimes had trepidations, right? About, oh my God, what if my boss comes and talks to me? What are we going to talk about? Everybody's there to have a good time. Everybody's there to have fun. But I would also say, and I think this is super important, be respectful of the fact that not everyone thinks of a party in the same way. If somebody doesn't want to attend the party, I think that's okay. I've seen circumstances where people have been kind of guilt tripped into attending, against their wishes. And that goes against the very spirit of a holiday celebration. Not everybody celebrates the same holidays. Not everybody is in the same place in their life. Somebody might be dealing with something that's really hard. And so they might not really be in a festive mood. And I think we should all respect that. And it's okay. If you are going to go with knowing that you're going to have a good time, even if you have some trepidation, even if you have some anxiety. At the end of the day, I've never gone to a party where I didn't have a good time, even if I didn't know a soul, and I was very anxious about it. I always ended up having fun. But I think, if you really are not in the headspace right now to attend a party, it's okay. It's okay to say no, and it's okay not even to say why, but we all joke about it, but it's the truth. No is a complete sentence. So that's okay too.
Love that. No is a complete sentence. And I think it comes to a lot of the parties, especially that I went to decades ago, not as recent, where it was just mammoth amounts of food and drink. This is not the time to like gorge on all the free stuff. Have some, especially with the drinks, like you said. Like, hey, if you do drink, just have one or two, spread them out. After that, have some club soda and throw like a lemon or a lime in it. This is not the time to just go, oh, wow, yay, free stuff. It's just a time to interact with people, right?
It's so interesting, right? I was at a client's office yesterday and I got in the elevator to go home and I was in the elevator by myself. We're on a high floor, and the next floor that the elevator stopped on, 6 people crowded in. So clearly, COVID elevator protocols have gone by the wayside because I'm like standing in my little corner. And they were all going to the office holiday party. And it was 5 women and a man. And the man apparently was new to the organization. And so he was like, yeah, it's my first party. I'm the newbie. Um, but what was interesting is his question was, so is tomorrow like a day off, or are we supposed to go to the office? And I'm thinking,
Wow.
wow, like if that's already your thought process, you might be going into the holiday party with the wrong mindset. I don't encourage going to a holiday party for your office with the expectation that you're not going to make it in the next day.
Absolutely. And one of the stories I'll share later, that person needed your advice. It's pretty funny. We'll talk about it later. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, and it brings us back to our last episode where we were talking about the return to office, work from home, hybrid. Well, now we have this mix in most companies. Whether they're hoping not to have a mix of hybrid, people working in the office, people working remotely, is a whole different topic that we'll probably have to cover again because people are still talking about it. But when it comes to holiday parties, what can you do? And I want to share something like with a team that I had worked with last year, and it's continuing to work for them. They're a hybrid team, and they were trying to figure out, they couldn't get everyone to come to in person for whatever reason, but they want to make sure everyone was included. So they decided, you know what? We do have to do 2 functions because the people who can be there in person really wanted in person for all the reasons we've been talking about, because a party can be fun. It's a great opportunity to have, more casual conversations. So they had that. The following week, they also did a virtual kind of party. They made sure it was not a party for sending messages, delivering announcements, none of that. They did really like a speed, not even a speed networking, a slow speed networking, where there were small groups of 3, breakout groups every 10 to 15 minutes. They would switch it up so that you were with other people and you keep on moving around. They loved it so much that they did it again in June, and they're doing it now again in December, where, hey, there are people who said, wow, next year I will really want to try to be there for the in person, but they still love this kind of virtual thing where the difference with the in-person party is that you don't always get a chance to talk to everyone. And this Zoom party made sure, like just the way it was set up and organized, that you had to talk to everyone. So they are continuing both, whether people are hybrid or remote. And I just loved that.
I love that too. And that's a really good point. When there are organizations where not only are people remote, but they're very geographically scattered, right? If I have a client who's based in New York, and there are some people who are in the office frequently, but there are some people who've never been in the office and they're in California, or there's even people that are international. So how can they possibly participate in an in-person event? And I think that as much as we all talk about Zoom fatigue and, not wanting to be on Zoom all day, you can do a fun virtual event. And I think it's really important to do that. I think it's super critical that if you have a remote or hybrid team, you're not just doing something that's, only for the people who are local. Because it's not equitable, it's not festive, and it's not fun. And I love that idea of like a slow networking. You can absolutely do those little breakout rooms and have little networking groups. There's also really fun activities. I've seen virtual jigsaw puzzles, which is super cool. People really love that. When I first heard about it, I was a little skeptical, but it's actually super fun. And something that I've also seen is where they'll send out like a package in advance, and it can be a cocktail or mocktail making class. and they send out the ingredients. Like you would say, okay, I want something with alcohol, I want something without alcohol. They'll send you a little ingredient package, and then you all take this class together online, and then you have your festive drinks. You can do it with food. So there's a lot of stuff that we can do that incorporates, all of the technology that we have. And I think it's really critical that we don't forget about the people who aren't, physically, geographically close.
Yes. And then there are times that I worked on a remote, like hybrid team when we just called ourselves a team. And we didn't have all those options with technology. And we use the end of the year as the opportunity that wherever it's going to be, we're all going to fly in. And, it took a lot of coordination. It wasn't a huge team, so it was possible for us to do it every year. And we really did look forward to it. And people said, hey, let's start planning the date now, like in June, so that everyone could be there, whether we were picking New York or Chicago or Atlanta. We were always trying to pick a major airport that was easy for everyone to fly into. And because we had all worked there for a few years together, it became like our, reunion every year. And the connection we made with each other during that 1 2 day period lasted.
Yeah.
And it really made the difference when you were talking to someone. When you got that email that maybe sounded angry, you'd call them up and go, "Hey, Tom, what's up? I'm reading this email." And I'm like, "This isn't the way we usually talk to each other." "Oh, no, 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 you're reading it wrong. That's not what I meant. Let me tell you what I said." And it wasn't that we got rid of conflicts. It's just that we heard something and we would immediately not assume the negative. We assumed, oh, this couldn't be what they meant. And it made the difference. I just think if you figure out a way to make those connections, it makes a difference. And the holiday time is a great opportunity for that.
I agree with you. You bring up a really important point, right? I work with a lot of international teams, a lot of teams that are in Asia or that have been in Europe, South America, and we talk every single day over email. But as you alluded to, it is very easy to misinterpret somebody's intention, somebody's tone. I could read the same sentence in two different, tones with emphasis on two different words, and they take on completely different meanings. And whenever I've been able to travel, or they've been able to travel so that we can meet each other, it makes all the difference, right? All of a sudden, you're not just this person on the other side of a computer. You're a real person. You have a personality. They talk, you learn about their family. It really makes a huge difference. And so I love the idea of, people flying in to meet each other. So in that case, did the company pay for people to fly in, or it was kind of like
Yes.
okay. That's amazing.
No,
I think
yes, we planned that. It was really part of the budget. And
amazing.
we were unique at that time being this remote team of people. So we were lucky that it was our creativeness in the budget was easily approved because they understood that it was just completely different, that we didn't see each other. We had to rely on, telephone. We didn't have video. So
Remember
we
that?
rarely, yes. So we had no way of seeing each other. And so they were and it was really part of our whole team structure. So it was great. But we didn't know we were like building kind of a platform of what needed to happen in the future because we just thought this is normal. One
I think
person was
that's amazing.
covering them. It is. Uh, I definitely want to get to our next question because this could be some of the absolute fun. We've been more informative during this session, but we need to get to some of the fun. And I want to start with sharing one very quick story that was in the comments on one of our posts talking about this upcoming event. I just thought this was hysterical. And it goes to the point I made earlier where this person needed your advice, Melissa. So they had a holiday party and there was someone who uh, got fairly drunk and wanted to take a nap. And their holiday party was in their office. So the person went under their desk and took what they thought would be a nap. Well, apparently that half hour or hour nap turned into like 8 to 10 hours because by the next morning, everyone was coming back to work and that person was still sleeping under the desk.
Oh no.
Perhaps a few too many drinks or something else, who knows what. But
Um,
definitely
yeah,
a reminder, like, too much is not a good thing.
too much is definitely not a good thing. So I definitely have one of those stories of my own. But I'll give you a positive memory instead. How about that?
I love
So
that.
I used to work for a brand that had a lot of connections in the music industry. And so they would have a lot of very well known musical acts that would come either to the fashion shows or even to the holiday parties. And so I have really great memories of one year they had the Sugar Hill Gang come and perform, which is just, old school rap group, phenomenal. And then another year, they had the Baja Boys, who at the time, Who Let the Dogs Out was just the song that everybody was listening to. And so just kind of getting to hear that song live and everybody dancing and everybody just, hoo, 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 the whole time was just fun. Like you felt like you were at a concert and you were there with your work friends. And that was just a really cool memory and really special. And, I think people don't always appreciate how much goes into those parties, right? First of all,
Absolutely.
just from a budgetary
Mm.
standpoint, it can be a really large, financial commitment from the organization, but there's so much planning, there's so much execution that has to go into it. And so I really hope that when we go to these parties, we appreciate that, and we appreciate a lot of times it's administrative assistants, it's executive assistants who are doing all of this planning, right? And they're still doing their regular day job, but they're also planning these
Exactly.
events for all of us. So I always like to give them a little shout out and really appreciate all the work that goes into these parties.
And thank you, because there was one party I'm gonna mention a story at where I was part of the planning group, and but prior to the party, we knew that one of our colleagues had a crush on someone in another division. So she was very excited that the party included multiple divisions. So she was looking forward to finding her crush there. At the end of the night, the group of us who had organized the event, we were like meeting in the lobby because we were all staying in the hotel. And then we saw our colleague who was with her crush, or so we thought, because we saw her on the other side of the lobby and we're like, oh, wow, she found her crush. They're both still chatting with each other, then kissing each other. We're like, oh, wow, they hit it off. And then they turned around and we thought they saw or heard us. Turns out they were way too drunk to even see beyond 2 feet in front of them. And they turned around and we all looked at each other and goes, "Oh, that's not the crush. That's her married boss."
Oh no,
So,
you
yes,
win.
that was so like, for those who stay at the end of the party, you sometimes see some of the real what happens afterwards.
I think that's actually one of my absolute best holiday office party tips, or two. One, don't hook up with your boss. Um, but just in general, don't be the last person at the party. It's never good.
And that's a good point to end on where, yeah. Oh, and perhaps for all parties, like, don't be unless you're the host, don't be the last one to leave the
Yes.
party.
If you are the host, you
Hmm,
probably should be the last person. But if you're not, yeah, don't overstay your welcome. Don't be that guest that doesn't leave.
I love that. So I also love that I know there are questions in the comments, even I think Kimberly asked about like the prompts during the Zoom parties. So we're going to answer all those questions. Both of us love going into the comments because we want to continue the conversations with all of you. And we want to continue next month as well. We'll have a new topic, same show. Let's talk about it. We all have different experiences, different careers, different ideas. So it's a great time to share and hear other perspectives. Most importantly, we wish all of you happy holidays, happy new year. And I'll let Melissa close out.
Yeah, Leslie said it all. Really happy holidays to everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My antlers seem to have died right on schedule. They're not flashing anymore.
Oh
Happy
no, mine
high
are still
quality,
going.
high quality antlers I have here, folks. Happy holidays. Hope everyone has a happy new year. Really appreciate your joining us. And we already do have our date for next month, January 19th. So hopefully we'll see you all then.
Thank you, everyone.